To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
In case you guys couldn't tell, I have a deep admiration for the Haunted Mansion. It's one of the most well-themed and memorable Disney attractions I've ever been on. Yeah, I'm gonna keep saying that, because that's gonna be my excuse as to why I keep making videos on it, and why I'll never stop. One of the reasons the Haunted Mansion is my favorite Disney attraction to have ever been made is that there is a lack of a clean, cohesive, and clear story. Well, I shouldn't say clean and cohesive, because there is a story there. The reason I love it so much is it leaves so much to your imagination. Who is the ghost host? Why is this human groundskeeper and his dog the only alive animatronics in the entire attraction? Unless, of course, you count the Raven. But is the Raven really alive? Its eyes are glowing red. Is it supernatural? There's so many questions behind this attraction. There is a permeating question, though, one that Disney fans have had since the opening day of the attraction. Who owns the Haunted Mansion? Yeah, that's right, you heard me. Who's the deed holder of the Haunted Mansion? Who has final say over what happens on the property? Who is the owner of the house? Today, I'm aiming to answer that question. Or, you know, at least confuse us all a little bit more on the subject. So everybody, come along with me as we take yet another deep dive into the lore of the Haunted Mansion with who owns the Haunted Mansion. So of course, when asking ourselves who owns the Haunted Mansion, we have to start back at the very beginning of the writing of the story of the Haunted Mansion. In 1957, Ken Anderson wrote his first creative treatment of the story of the Haunted Mansion, setting the attraction inside the manor of an old sea captain who, according to local legend, disappeared under mysterious circumstances many years earlier. This is where we will be starting our hunt for the original owner of the Haunted Mansion as we know it today. We'll be starting it with Captain Gore. This is a very popular and well-known origin to the Haunted Mansion. It gave us the Ghost Bride story we know today, Constance Hatchaway in some places, and still just the Black Widow bride in the attic of other places. Well, I mean, heck, it even gave us the weather vane on top of the mansion in Disneyland. But keep in mind, this is not the story they ended up going with. This is not the story of any of the Haunted Mansions around the world. This is just an origin or starting point. You see, Captain Bartholomew Gore, or Captain Gideon Gore-Lew, depending on what version of the story you're being told, killed his wife Priscilla after she found out he was a bloodthirsty pirate, which may or may not tie into Pirates of the Caribbean and Jean Lafitte. How did this bloodthirsty pirate kill his wife? Well, you know, as pirates do, he threw her down a well because, you know, he couldn't find an ocean to throw her in nearby. Walt enjoyed the first story idea, but he encouraged Ken Anderson to keep working and come up with another story for the Haunted Mansion, which, of course, he did, and this one was known as Bloodmere Manor. The history of the attraction, according to Ken Anderson's story, is that this is a lakeside estate of the unfortunate Blood family. Our house had a tragic and bloody history of unlucky owners who died sudden and violent deaths, which resulted in their unhappy ghosts remaining behind to fulfill the uncompleted mission of their lives. Whatever that is, who knows? I don't even think the story writers knew. We started the work of restoration as soon as it arrived at Disneyland, but strangely enough, the work of each day was destroyed during the night. It mysteriously remains always night within the house. So we recommend you stay close together during your visit, and please, above all, obey your guide's instructions. This story even involved a Disneyland construction worker getting walled up inside the haunted house, and then also becoming a ghost himself. Now, I don't know about you, but I actually kind of prefer the Captain Gore version of this story because it's less morbid, I suppose. Well, I mean, it is a haunted mansion. It's supposed to be a little morbid, but I mean, a Disneyland construction worker getting walled up inside the haunted house and dying, I don't know about that one. So of course, Ken worked on another story beat. The third story Ken Anderson had written up for the Haunted Mansion included Walt Disney personally introducing the guests to the haunted house. Well, I mean, not personally, he wasn't in the haunted house, he was recorded on tape and on video, but I mean, he was there introducing you to the house. Your guide through the haunted house is quickly dispatched by a giant hairy arm. Well, not Walt Disney, by the way, this is another guide, and is replaced by a lonesome ghost guiding you through the attraction. Now, the scenes in this version of the mansion are less spooky and actually unsettling and more silly and prankish like the ones we get in the final version of the Haunted Mansion that we ended up with. Of course, as you could probably have guessed if you've ever ridden the Haunted Mansion before, this story didn't stick either. So far, we have 3 separate owners of the Haunted Mansion, of which 0 are canon to the current day Haunted Mansion story. Those are Captain Bartholomew Gore, the Blood family, and of course Walt Disney himself. So I think it's safe to say that the past versions of the Haunted Mansion storylines are worth not looking into because they are past versions and not the current canon version. So let's look at the storyline that we have today. Now, the modern day story we have in the Haunted Mansion, the canon one, is a sort of retirement home for spirits from all over the world, as evidenced by this sign that stood in front of the Haunted Mansion before it opened, and different media press tours and interviews that Walt Disney gave on the Disneyland TV show before it opened. This is why we can see different ghosts from all over the world in the graveyard scene, ghosts from Great Britain, ghosts from Egypt, ghosts from Norway, all different ghosts all coming together and having a great afterlife party. But who, I ask you, is the host of this party? The ghost host of this party. Okay, I'm sorry about that. Let's just let's go ahead and move on. Can we move on, please? Now let's start talking about this here ghost host. Let's see if he's actually the owner of the Haunted Mansion. He's not. Let's, spoiler alert, he's not the owner of the Haunted Mansion, but let's talk about it. It seems to me that the ghost host is either a wandering person who got trapped in the Haunted Mansion and resorted to suicide as his way to get out. That's why he says, of course, there's always my way, showing his hanging body. Or B, he was one of the house staff or worked with one of the owners of the mansion and ended up killing himself in the attic for whatever reason. I think it's safe to say, though, that the ghost host is not the owner of the Haunted Mansion. He's not the master of the house, which leads me on to my next point. Master Gracey. Is Master Gracey the owner of the Haunted Mansion? Again, spoiler alert, he's not. Now this is a very persistent and false rumor that spreads about the Haunted Mansion. Yale Gracey, an Imagineer who worked on the attraction, has a reference in the queue of the Haunted Mansion on a gravestone saying Master Gracey, blah blah blah, he was put to rest here in the queue of the Haunted Mansion. Now lots of people interpreted this master title as being the master of the house, the owner of the Haunted Mansion, but this is indeed false. According to Imagineer Ex Atencio, who worked on the script for the Haunted Mansion as well as writing the lyrics for Grim Grinning Ghosts, the title of master on the tombstone was meant to imply a male too young to be called Mr., not the master of the house. So there you have it. It's not Master Gracey, the owner of the Haunted Mansion, it's Mr. Gracey, someone who's a young boy and is too young to be called Mr. So that answers that. Master Gracey is not the owner. Man, it seems this search for an owner for the Haunted Mansion is gonna have no definitive answer. It seems like there's no canon to the Haunted Mansion story. There needs to be a book or something we can read, a children's storybook of the Haunted Mansion that we can read that gives us a definitive canon version of the Haunted Mansion story. Oh, hold on a second. Wait a second. There is a canon Haunted Mansion story that we can read. It's a little dusty. Unfortunately, upon flipping through the book and looking for proof on the owner of the Haunted Mansion, I could find nothing. Funnily enough, though, the book does talk about someone in the attic scene that I think is worth mentioning. Not the Hatbox Ghost, we'll get to him later, but someone else in the attic scene, someone you may know as Constance Hatchaway. Well, I guess everyone would know her as Constance Hatchaway, that's kind of her name. Anyway, that's right everybody, today I stand before you and ask you to consider the following. The real owner of the Haunted Mansion is in fact Constance Hatchaway. Now of course I can't go around making crazy claims like this, I have to back it up with some sort of fact. I have to tell you why I think Constance is the owner of the Haunted Mansion, and I definitely will tell you that. I'll tell you that next week. That's right everybody, this is not going to be just a one-part video, this is in fact going to be a two-part special on the owner of the Haunted Mansion. Surprise. I'm sorry. So if you're interested on finding out how I definitively found out that Constance is without a doubt maybe the owner of the Haunted Mansion, please be sure to tune in to Offhand Disney next week, same time, same place, maybe. Probably not same time, same place. Definitely same place, probably not the same time. I'm rambling. Find out next week on Offhand Disney how Constance Hatchaway is without a doubt the owner of the Haunted Mansion. In Who Owns the Haunted Mansion Part 2. We'll be dying to have you. Hello everybody, thank you all so much for watching Who Owns the Haunted Mansion Part 1. Next week, Part 2 will be coming, rest assured. Thank you all again so much for watching this video. Please follow me on Twitter if you get the chance to get some more updates regarding me, my channel, and what I am doing and when I will be in the Disney parks. Also, if you feel so inclined, I have reinstated patron perks on my Patreon. That means you get early access to episode audio and access to special giveaways only accessible to patrons on my Patreon. Even just $1 goes a long way and helps me out tremendously. For those of you who didn't know, I actually also recently created an Offhand Disney subreddit. I will have the link to that down in the description below, where you can go and we can discuss anything we want to talk about the Offhand Disney videos, fandom, or anything Disney related. I'll have that link down in the description below in case you want to stop in and talk about Jean Lafitte. Last piece of business, everybody. Offhand Disney merch is still available. There is a link down in the description. I'm going to be adding some more designs here relatively soon once I get them all ironed out. I think they look great and I'm going to be wearing them whenever I'm in the park because these designs are just to die for, if you get my drift. Anyways, everybody. Now that all that business is out of the way, I gotta thank you all so much for watching my video. Again, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button if you liked it, leave a comment down below who you think the owner of the Haunted Mansion is, hit that bell icon because Lord knows I need it, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.